Friends, this video is for chapter 2, part 1, history, socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. In this video, we are going to discuss about liberals, radicals and conservatives, industrial society and social change, the coming of socialism to Europe, support for socialism. These are some of the topics which we are going to discuss in this video. So the first topic is the age of social change. So in your previous chapter, you have read about the powerful ideas of freedom and equality which circulated in Europe after the French Revolution. So here you can see the French Revolution actually opened up the possibility of creating a dramatic change in the way in which society was structured. Now, before the 18th century, society was broadly divided into states and orders. Also, it was aristocracy and church controlled economic and social power. After the revolution, it seemed possible to change this. Now, in many parts of the world, including Europe and Asia, new ideas about individual rights and who controlled social power began to be discussed. In India, Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Desrosiers talked of significance of the French Revolution. Many others debated the ideas of post-revolutionary Europe. So the developments in the colonies in turn reshaped these ideas of societal change. Now, not everyone in Europe was in favor of complete transformation of society. There was a varied responses from different people. Some of them accepted that some change was necessary, but wished for a gradual shift. Now, some of them wanted to restructure society radically. So some were conservatives, others were liberals or radicals. So these terms actually do not mean the same thing in all the context or at all the time. So we will briefly look at some of the important political traditions of 19th century, and we will see that how they influence the change. Also, we will focus on one historical event in which there was an attempt at radical transformation of society. Now, the revolution through the revolution in Russia, socialism became one of the most significant and powerful ideas to shape society in the 20th century. So we will discuss about all these topics in our chapter. Now here we will discuss about the liberals, radicals and conservatives, how these terms are interlinked, interconnected, how they are similar and how they are different from each other. Now, as we discussed that not everyone was in favor of total transformation of the society. Some different people were having different opinions. So one of the group which looked to change society were the liberals, and they wanted a nation which tolerated all religions. You should remember that at this time, European states usually discriminated in favor of one religion or another. Like Britain favored the Church of England, Austria and Spain favored the Catholic Church. So the liberals wanted nation with which tolerated all religions. They also opposed the uncontrolled power of dynastic rulers. Actually, they wanted to safeguard the rights of individuals against the governments. So for that, they argued for a representative, elected parliamentary government subject to laws interpreted by a well-trained judiciary that was independent of rulers and officials. So they argued for these things. But they were not democrats. They did not believe in universal adult franchise. They did not wanted all the adults to vote, all the citizens to vote. They wanted only the men with certain amount of property to vote. They also did not wanted the women to vote. So you can see they argued for representative elected parliamentary government and subjects to law, but they were not democrats as they were not in support of universal adult franchise. The radicals wanted a nation in which government was based on the majority of a country's population. Many of them supported women's suffrage movement, and they were not against the existence of private property, but they disliked concentration of property in the hands of a few. They did not wanted that the concentration of property should be in hand of few people. So you can see, if you compare the radicals with the liberals, you will find that they were actually in favor of universal adult franchise. They also supported women's suffrage movement, and they wanted the government was should be based on majority of country's population. Next is conservatives. Conservatives were opposed to radicals and liberals. After French Revolution, the conservatives had opened their mind to the need for change, but earlier in 18th century, they had been generally opposed to the idea of change. They did not want any kind of change. But after this French Revolution, by 19th century, they accepted that some change was inevitable, but they believed that the past had to be respected and the change had to be brought through a slow process. Now, these kind of different ideas about societal change clashed during the social and political turmoil that followed the French Revolution. Now, there were various attempts at the revolution and national transformation in 19th century, which helped define both the limits and potential of these political tendencies. Now we will discuss about industrial society and social change. Now, these political trends were actually the sign of a new time. And it was actually the time of social and economic changes. It was a time when new cities came up, new industrialized regions developed, railways expanded, and industrial revolution occurred. Now, industrialization brought men, women, and children to factories. They used to work hours for long hours, and the wages which they were getting were very poor. Now, unemployment was common, particularly when there was a time of low demand for industrial goods. Housing and sanitation were also problem, as the towns were rapidly growing, and because of that housing and sanitation was a problem. Now these liberals and radicals, they searched for solutions to these issues. Here in the picture you can see the London poor in mid 19th century as seen by a contemporary. Now all the industries which were there were the property of individuals. Now these liberals and radicals, they were themselves property owners and employers. They made their wealth through trade or industrial ventures, and they felt that such effort should be encouraged. They thought that its benefits would be achieved if the workforce in the economy has healthy and citizens were educated. They actually opposed the privileges of the old aristocracy which they used to get by birth, and they firmly believed in the value of individual effort, labor and enterprise. So they wanted the citizens to be educated. If the freedom of individuals was ensured, if the poor could labor and those with capital could operate without restraint, they believed that society would develop. And now many working men and women who wanted changes in the world rallied around liberal and radical groups and parties and in early 19th century. So actually they opposed the privilege which the people used to get by birth, and they believed in the value of individual effort, labor and enterprise. Some of the nationalist liberals and radicals wanted revolution so that they can put an end to the kind of government which was established in Europe in 1815. Now in France, Italy, Germany and Russia, they became revolutionaries and worked to overthrow existing monarchs. These nationalists talked about revolutions that would create nations where all citizens would have equal rights. So after 1815, Giuseppe Mazzini, an Italian nationalist, conspired with others to achieve this in Italy. Next we have the coming of socialism to Europe. The most far-reaching visions of how society should be structured was socialism, and by the mid-19th century in Europe, socialism was a well-known body of ideas which attracted widespread attention. These socialists were against private property and saw it as the root of all social ills of the time. Why it was so? Because the individual who owned the property gave employment, but the propertied were concerned with personal gain, not with the welfare of those who made the property productive. So if society as a whole rather than single individual controlled property, more attention would be paid to collective social interest. So socialists wanted this change and campaigned for it. Now, how could a society without property operate? How would be the basis of socialist society? So socialists had different visions of for future. Some of them believed the idea of cooperatives, like Robert Owen, 1771 to 1858. He was a leading English manufacturer. He sought to build a cooperative community which was called New Harmony in Indiana, which is in USA. Other socialists felt that cooperatives could not be built on a wide scale, only through individual initiative. So they demanded that government encourage cooperatives. In France, Louis Blanc, who was from 1813 to 1882, he wanted the government to encourage cooperatives and replace capitalist enterprises. So these cooperatives were to be associations of people who produced goods together and divided the profits according to the work done by the members. They don't wanted the whole property in one hand, into the hand of few people. They wanted whatever profit is there, that should be divided according to the work in the members, so that everyone will be getting the profit. Karl Marx 1818 to 1883 and Friedrich Engels 1820 to 1895, they added other idea. They argued that industrial society was capitalist and the capitalist owned the capital invested in factories, and the profit of capitalist was produced by workers. So the condition of workers could not improve as long as this profit was accumulated by private capitalists. So workers had to overthrow capitalism and rule of private property. In this, Marx believed that to free themselves from capitalist exploitation, workers had to construct a radically socialist society where all property was socially controlled. And this would be a communist society. And he was convinced that workers would triumph in their conflict with capitalists. So a communist society was the natural society of the future. Next is support for socialism. So this idea of socialists was spread through Europe by 1870s. And to coordinate their efforts, socialists formed an international body. The name was the Second International. Also, the workers in England and Germany, they began forming associations so that they can fight for better living and working conditions. They also set up funds to help members in time of distress and demanded a reduction of working hours and the right to vote. Now, in Germany, these associations worked closely with the Social Democratic Party and helped it win parliamentary seats. Now, by 1905, the socialists and trade unionists formed a Labour Party in Britain and the Socialist Party in France. Till 1914, socialists never succeeded in forming a government in Europe. Now, by strong figures in parliamentary politics, their idea did shape legislation, but government continued to be run by conservatives, liberals and radicals. They only were running the government. Here you can see a painting of the Paris Commune of 1871, which portrays a scene from the popular uprising in Paris between March and May 1871. This was a period when the town council of Paris was taken over by a people's government consisting of workers, ordinary peoples, professionals, political activists and others. Now this was the uprising emerged against a background of growing discontent against the policies of the French state. And the Paris Commune was ultimately crushed by the government troops, but it was celebrated by socialists the world over as the prelude to a socialist revolution. It is also popularly remembered for two important legacies. One is for its association with the workers, red flag, that was the flag adopted by the communards, revolutionary in Paris. And second is for Marseillaise, originally written as a war song in 1792, which became symbol of Commune and of the struggle for liberty. Here we have an activity for you. Imagine that a meeting has been called in your area to discuss the socialist idea of doing away with private property and introducing collective ownership. Write the speech you would make at the meeting if you are a poor laborer working in the field, a medium level landowner, a house owner. So you need to do this activity. Prepare the speech considering yourself as these three. I hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.